Good evening, everybody. I love that little intro. I think that's forever going to be my little song just at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. This is Hugo Quintanilla for another Live at 5. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Another great topic today. I forget sometimes that just being in this business for so long, some of the simplest questions might be the most beneficial for you all. So I have a great question that has to do with buying and, well, actually leasing as well in townhouses and condos, and what the difference is between a condo fee and a homeowners association fee, why some places have both, and what they cover. It's not a very huge topic, but it matters because every property that you buy into is going to have these fees associated with it. Even if you pay off the property, let me make that clear. Even if you pay off the property, you still have to pay those fees. Unfortunately, that's a very harsh truth of living in those communities, is that you make that commitment and it's in the bylaws of the community. Sometimes that is also a big reason why those communities are priced at a lower income. That's not to say they're all that way, because there are townhouses that are right there on the rung of single family homes, especially ever since we've had a shortage in housing, point blank, period. But they tend to appreciate less condos and townhouses than single family homes, just because of the nature of the property. You're still sharing area with a, someone very close by. Now, condos are of course worse than townhouses. Townhouses are better than condos in that sense, but you always have to look at the area and look at the adjacent factors like your community. If you have any questions, please feel free and leave them down below. I would love to make another episode on some of your comments or questions. The phone number is 240-389-4846. Hugo at lnf.com is the email, and yourrealtorhugo.com is the website. So feel free and reach out on any of those platforms. I am on all social media platforms. Just go ahead and Google Hugo Quintanilla as you see it on the screen, and I'd be more than happy to help you guys out. So let me jump into the lesson for today. That's going to be a quick one. The condo fee and HOA fee. What's the big difference? Condo fees typically cover maintenance of common areas, amenities, and exterior structures of condo units. They often include insurance for the building. Key. HOA fees cover maintenance of common areas in neighborhoods with single family homes or townhouses. They can also include services like trash collection, snow removal, and landscaping. Both condo and HOA fees aim to maintain the community standards and amenities, but are tailored to suit the specific needs of the respective properties. Understanding these differences can help, and especially for first time homebuyers, it can be a great, how do you say, criteria filter. Because if you're not willing to spend that extra amount, well, I shouldn't say that. It's not so much that you're not willing to spend it, is that can you qualify for the property with that extra amount? Because that will be factored into your loan if you're taking out a loan. If you're not, then of course, it doesn't matter. But any extra expense, any extra monthly expense incurred definitely changes your qualification abilities and requirements for that property. So making sure that with all the details of the HOA, if there have been any changes to the HOA, if there have been any changes to the condo and those fees, making sure you can still qualify for these properties is essential. That's why we always tell you, make sure that you're getting pre-qualified at the beginning. Don't waste your time, because if you're on the borderline with this, your loan, and then that could push you over the edge. We don't want to be there. We want to be in properties where we can show you what you can afford and make it reasonable for your goals. So that's a big difference between them, is that one typically covers the common areas and amenities and exterior structures. So you can have that in single in like townhouse communities, you can't have common buildings, um, and that's where you can have both fees. Sometimes one fee can be larger than the other. Sometimes both fees can be paid to one organization. Sometimes they're paid to two completely different places. But you have to be informed, and you have to know, and you have to ask, because sometimes due diligence is not done and people don't know where the money's supposed to go, and you can have a problem. You could have a bill you're not expecting, and then find out, come a month after closing, hey, I owe so such and such money to so and so. There's also a different frequency on those. They're not sometimes every month. Sometimes they're every 2 months, every 3 to 4 months. It could vary. Every 6 months. It really depends. Now, let's discuss some pros and cons to having HOA and condo fees. Amenities, both condos and HOA fees often cover amenities like swimming pools, gyms, landscaping, and maintenance, giving you access to facilities without managing them yourself, which is, great. The worst thing that people will tell you that own a pool have to deal with is owning a pool. Even selling it, it's a little bit more complicated. Maintenance, exterior maintenance, such as roofing, siding, and sometimes landscaping, is typically covered by these fees, saving you time and effort. You don't have to worry about that. It's another thing out of your mind. Community rules. HOAs and condos often enforce rules that maintain a uniform look and feel in the community, establishing a well kept neighborhood. I had the pleasure of working with a couple that was selling in an HOA and condo where there was a lot of, I should say it this way, there was a steady amount of people trying to not follow the rules and didn't really care for putting the trash in the proper receptacles. They just threw it everywhere. Little by little, there started to be enforcement amongst the community, not really with the HOA or anything like that. They weren't enforcing it. It was the community themselves that was enforcing it, that made moves to stop that, and to find out who that was, that really helped stop that in the whole area, in the whole community. And that not only helped raise property values in the area, it also gave better appearance to the area. And it was just something that as a whole the community benefited from, because sometimes you do have that one person that just doesn't really understand the rules. And it's not really about being a Karen or snitching on someone. Everyone that's there pays their just deserves to be there. So it's only what's just to follow the rules that everyone abided by. I hate to say it that way, because sometimes things get viralized, and it can be a very gray line of what happened and what didn't happen, because we really never get all the details of what goes on. But at the end of the day, the rules are there for the homeowners and the homeowners tenants and people that live in those areas to have access to these amenities and these benefits at a cost. And just knowing what that cost is crucial, because yeah, you could buy a property for 200,000, or maybe 150,000. Probably you could do a condo, but do you really want to be paying those condo fees and everything like that? That's why people don't really stay in condos for their lives, or hold on to them too for an extended period of time as an investment, because sometimes those fees do cut into the profits. It just really depends on the type of portfolio you're trying to have. So consulting with a realtor that can tell you the realistic value for your condo could be a great move, because sometimes the managing of the property might not be worth what you make on it. But that all has to be on the owner's, own volition and own heart. Shared cost. These fees spread the cost of major repairs or renovations among the homeowners, potentially reducing individual financial burden. Community events. Some associations organize social events, fostering a sense of community among residents, and that's one of the coolest things that you'll see. You in great communities that have HOAs and sometimes standardized looks, you'll have book cubbies or little mailbox libraries where people will donate books to have other people in the community, share and have and read and, appreciate. There are always community events being thrown at certain community landmarks, especially if these buildings and these, you know, communities and subdivisions have those buildings already set up. You just have to call and find out if they're doing those things. Sometimes they have classes where they teach, exercises or who knows what. um, Really, sky's the limit because they have those amenities. They might as well use them for something, right? And who's to not say that you can't start something yourself? You'd be amazed how many people don't have what they want because it doesn't exist. And sometimes it's really taking the initiative to make it that is the difference between having it and not. Sometimes it's you, the person that thought that up, that needs to take the initiative to make it. And I'm saying I think that more to myself than to anybody else, because really executing on those little inspirations is one of the most difficult things that you need to learn. Because yeah, you can grab great value from an opportunity like purchasing a condo, especially if it's a condo with low fees. If you know what the fees are in relation to the rest of the area, because you'll know what a good deal is. It's just having an eye for these things when they become available and doing your research, asking the right questions. Professional management. Managed by a board or management company, these associations handle administrative tasks, dispute resolutions, and financial planning. Now, that can be a pro and a con because there can be a lot of disputes there amongst the board. But, you know, the nice thing is that you're, again, not dealing with it. But I would highly suggest that you get involved in the boards if you can. Increased security, gated entrances, security panel, or surveillance systems are sometimes funded through these fees, enhancing safety and security. Sometimes there's just personnel that's actually part of the staff there that services people. So that's another thing to think about too if you're thinking about security. Financial transparency. Typically, associations provide financial reports and meeting minutes, keeping homeowners informed about community finances and decisions. That is the goal of these boards, to keep everyone aware so that no one's being blindsided. Now, making sure that you have the right people on these boards, that's crucial, but that's a different conversation for another day. Increased Oh, I said that one already. Okay. Resale value. Well maintained communities with sought after amenities can positively impact property resale values. This goes without saying. People like pools. It's just no one likes to operate a pool. No one wants to clean a pool. No one likes to keep a pool safe. No one likes to keep a pool clean. Collective decision making. Lastly, homeowners usually have a say in association decisions, allowing them to influence the community policyholders. Again, I tell you, please be involved because you would be surprised. These panels make it very easy. They know people are busy, they need your input, but take the time to do that because it will impact you. If not today, maybe in the future. So, now, top 10 cons that there might be with living in these communities, because I like to give you the pro and the con. I like to give you the even Steven of it because that way you guys can make your own decisions. Really, that's my purpose here, is to show you your options and you make your own choices. And I'm here to facilitate. Fees. Additional monthly fees can strain your budget, so it's crucial to factor them into your overall home ownership costs. Rules and regulations. Some associations have strict rules regarding external appearances, renovations, or pet ownership, which might not align with individual preferences. And it's that last one that you got to make a lot of note on, because if you have an animal, any animal, please be aware of what their policies are. Because if they don't allow animals, don't allow pets, then this could be a very contentious ownership of this property. Now, there are exceptions, and that I will note, for service animals. Um, but again, that's something that you have to deal with on a case by case basis, because more than anything else, you just have to be transparent about it when you're applying. Just let us know. Okay, this is why. Because service animals are not pets, and that's a very clear distinction that's made in the law. Rules and regulations. Some associations have strict rules and excuse me. Some associations have strict rules regarding external appearances, renovations, or pet ownership, which might not align with individual preferences. Special assessments. In case of unexpected expenses or budget shortfalls, associations may impose special assessments on homeowners for repairs or improvements. Limited control. Homeowners might have limited autonomy in making decisions about their property or community matters. That's when it really can get rough, because if you don't have the time to do the due diligence, make the phone calls, be at the board meetings, you could be part of a community that's not doing what you want, and it could price you out of the community, or could make it very difficult for you to operate a business if you're operating a rental, or even if you wanted to have like something like a pet, or maybe more people in the property than was allowed. These are all things that might impact your stay there. Mismanagement. Again, we were talking about the management earlier of the board. Poorly managed associations can lead to inefficiencies, disputes, or financial problems affecting residents. And it's of no fault of the residents. It can really get bad. And you hear of these cases, you can probably do a Google search of, homeowners association gone wild. I'm pretty sure you'll find something crazy. But you hope that you don't participate in a homeowners association that's like that. And there are actually movements of legislation that are seeking to make sure that management companies are doing their due diligence and covering these properties correctly. So laws are changing to make sure that less of mismanagement is happening, because those fees are going to somebody. It's just who's benefiting from those fees. That's the biggest question. Resale restrictions. Some associations might have restrictions on selling or renting out your property. Now, that is a very interesting case by case situation, and it's different than covenants that we talked about the other day. These are usually because they have to be a certain age, for example, a senior community, or for example, to rent it, you might not be able to. You might not be able to have an Airbnb in your property. So you have to be very careful of what you want to do. So being transparent with your realtor and the person helping you out is key, because if the property is not allowed, if the building doesn't allow an Airbnb, you could have just bought a headache instead of a gold mine. So, got to keep that in mind. Potential conflicts. Disputes among neighbors or with the association over rules or decisions can arise. Changing fees. Fees might increase over time due to rising maintenance costs or budgetary needs. And that's the biggest one we're seeing now, is that people are trying to adjust for inflation and the cost of doing business in these management companies. Enforcement policies. Strict enforcement of rules without considering individual circumstances can sometimes lead to frustration among homeowners. I've seen it. There is no sympathy for anybody. And the reason they do that, and I hate to say it, it's because if they do it for one person, they have to do it for everybody. And then what do you have at that point? You're all paying for these rules to be upheld, for these, certain standard of amenities to be kept. You have to keep the rules up. So it's unfortunate when it happens, but it's kind of what you sign up for with these properties. So my condolences to those that have had that happen when it comes to parking, and then going out and realizing that they are not allowed to park there without a permit. That R.I.P. to the ones that had that happen to them. And last but not least, lack of privacy. Being part of a closely knit community may mean less privacy compared to a standalone property. It's just the nature of the beast. Condos and townhouse communities are more jam packed with people, so it's just you're bound to have more people around you. It's just what you're gonna do. That's right. You got to be careful where you buy. You got to make sure that you got thick walls. You got to make sure you know the community. Look at reviews. Do reviews on the community. You can always get that information online. And a lot of this stuff can be provided from by your realtor. So do not be afraid to ask these questions, because no question is stupid. And that's why we do this live for you guys. Okay. So my name is Hugo. I am a realtor with Long & Foster, licensed in Maryland, but I can help you all over the United States if you want to be in touch with a trusted realtor in any state. I can also help you internationally, so if you need help there, so check out my website, yourrealtorhugo.com. My phone number is 240-389-4846, and my email is hugo@lnf.com. It is always a pleasure to spend time with all of you. And thank you for watching. I will see you again tomorrow. We should have a new rental listing for this weekend, so please stay tuned for that. I'm super excited for that. It's going to be a great opportunity at a great price. So please stay tuned, and thank you everyone for the comments and the support and the feedback on the first video, sharing it, and just telling people about your friends and family about me, and telling them to look me up, because I can see it. I can see it in the numbers, and I really appreciate the support, especially during this holiday when you guys can be watching other stuff. So thank you so much. Have a great day. Have a great evening, and I will see you tomorrow.